Hey everybody, it is October 6th at 11:30, coming to you from Ardent Creative in Fort Worth, Texas, and we're here to talk about politics. Okay, we're not here to talk about politics, but I'm Brad Ball. I'm one of the owners at Ardent, and this is Paul Miller. He's the creative director. And so we're here to talk about creativity, branding, and just things that are going on kind of in the day-to-days of what we do here at Ardent, and both within our industry, but also just within our own company. And so with COVID happened over the last 6 months, how has it impacted us and those around us, friends that have other agencies like ours, or just businesses that we work with? And so that's kind of what we'll talk about today. And so first, Paul, what would you say the most impactful thing has been over the last 6 months with dealing with COVID and the creative team?
I'd say with the creative team and just creativity in general, the most impactful thing has been the remote working and just being distanced from each other. That collaboration that you have when you're sitting across from a table, and you can throw ideas out there and see what works, what doesn't, and just kind of go on tangents. You lose that when you're dealing with buffering in a Zoom call and the dog's barking and you're not right there in front of each other. So I would say that's probably the most significant one, which then also plays into a lot of other pieces to the puzzle.
As you talk about that, it's been amazing to see our team take on that challenge. And it was something I never really could see us doing full time, is going remote. And we did that in December just to give them some space. But for a week is one thing, but going a month, 2 months, 3 months is a whole different animal. And so we talked about at some point going more of a remote workforce, but COVID kind of forced our hand on that matter. And so it's been interesting to see how our team has reacted, and now to a point where that's something we're considering going completely over to remote. And so how seeing that transition from being face-to-face to the challenges of being remote, what are some amazing things you've seen in that process?
Yeah. I mean, I think it really comes down to the strength of our team. I mean, to give them complete props, they dove into this and, put themselves aside and, really looked at how they could collaborate, how they could communicate, and selflessly find answers to all this. And it, the first month, it's like, okay, this is an experiment. We're going to figure it all out. The second month, third month, that's when you start getting into other hurdles where it's like, man, this is kind of just this process that never seems to go away. But our team has consistently shown up for each other, been willing to explain things further, talk things out, jump on a call at the last minute to try to solve stuff. And in that feeling of collaboration has continued to build, and which also allows us to continue to find creative solutions for what we're trying to do. And that it all, I think, boils down to really our core values, like seeing our core values in action when we're kind of put to the fire. We care about being passionate about what we do, whether it's in the office or with our family or outside the office, but that doesn't just fall in line with being passionate about the next marketing campaign. It's about being passionate about working with the team that we have and, leaning on that passion to get through these issues and these hurdles that block creativity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting when you bring up core values, passionate and, relationships and integrity. And relationships right now, you would think would be the most difficult thing to maintain. And that's partly true, just because you're not face-to-face all the time. But, in some ways, I think a lot of people connect more, whether not through chat, but through calls. And it almost makes, when we do get around each other, it's that much more exciting. And
yeah, absolutely. I really small case in point is, we usually always celebrate people's birthdays in person, and, we'll get cookies delivered or a cake or whatever the person particularly likes.
Gluten-free if needed.
Gluten-free if needed, for sure. And we'll all stop and we'll celebrate and, hang out for a bit. Well, we don't have that right now. And so, unbeknownst to me, even being on leadership, like, I had no clue what practice we had put in place. Our team had coordinated that on your birthday, you get cookies delivered to your house. And so I get some Tiff's treats that show up on a Saturday, and it's a little note from my team. And it just kind of even had like a little joke in it because of something I had said earlier that week. And it just kind of reminded me, like, I'm connected to a family outside of, my family, and they do care about me. I got to share those cookies with my girls. They were super excited. And that's little things like that kind of reconnect us back to who we are and what we've built over the years. And it means a lot, even though it's just a tiny little thing.
The cookies weren't really for you for your birthday.
No, they weren't at
They're
all.
for the girls.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with how many they devoured. Like, I think I got half a cookie.
And it's been amazing for me to see the team, and in many ways seeing their creativity flourish or get better. And, I have some thoughts about why that would be. And do you have any thoughts of how your team has grown creatively, or what has caused that elevation in their work?
Constant conversation, constant collaboration are obviously the two buzzwords I can throw at that. But it really is absolutely true. When things are going well, we're talking through everything. When things are hitting the fan and it's not working, or we're missing a deadline or about to miss a deadline, we're all jumping into that fire together and picking up where we can and supporting each other. When, projects are a little more difficult and they need a little more problem solving and thinking outside the box, we're willing to dig in on that and make that happen. But I think really what's showing itself is that we had those values and those, communication channels in place before we went remote.
I think one thing I would touch on is, when you're in the office all the time, there's a lot of busyness, and it's hard to kind of step away and you refocus in many ways. And I think being remote, you still have some connections there, but it also gives you the ability to step away and recharge. And as a creative, when we're buried in everything, it's hard to slow down enough to think creatively. And I think being remote for several of the team members has probably helped them because, hey, I need to go take a walk and let my brain recharge, or I need to think through some things. And I think that's important as a creativity, to take that time to step away and to really think creatively. Because if we're always go, 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 because that's kind of how I function, is under pressure, and you get it out, you do it, and you go, and that's part of the creative process for me. But for a lot of people, they need to slow down and let their brain think, and that's what I've been working on with a lot of my thought processes as I work through kind of the creativity as an entrepreneur and write through a book, is forcing myself to sketch again or to journal and go through that creative process, because the more I do it, the more those creative juices flow, and the more I'll see things or I'll dream, and all those ideas really start to flourish.
Yeah, absolutely. I know some of our team members have taken on new hobbies, or they've moved, and so they're setting up their home, and so they have that flexibility to, I'm going to go work on this house project for a little bit, or decorate something and get all that set up, and then come back with new ideas. And, we're gaining, the time that it takes to travel into work and go out and grab something to eat for lunch. We're gaining all those extra minutes, and the team can take those minutes, go do something different in the middle of the day to shift their brain. One of our designers was even like, man, I love this. I can go out and mow the lawn at 10:30, be done at 11, or, and then get back to work and not skip a beat, but I've refreshed my brain and done something a little different and kind of activated my brain differently. So that's been a huge part of it, is having that culture where we're facilitating everyone to find the answer that works for them. Like, how do you get through all this? How do you connect to the team or reconnect with your creativity? How do you take a break and reset? And being flexible with that has really benefited our team.
I think the one word that comes to mind as you talk through that is freedom. Being free to really be creative, or, when you're most productive, do the work then. That you're not bound by normal business parameters. And I think that's really what makes the team unique across all the different teams. And I know we've had people in the past that have families and they have to go to school or pick their kids up from school. And I think those people, this is a blessing to them because, not COVID, but just the process of being able to have the flexibility to go do that and still get their work done. You don't see in a lot of places.
Yeah, and I would say even on a more personal and practical matter, what we've seen, we have a lot of young moms that work here, and they are taking on the burden of working for us, but also taking care of their kids and homeschooling them because they're at home, or whatever that may be. And it's very important that we have open communication with everyone on the team, that it's okay to shift things. It's okay to work your hours differently. It's okay to take care of your family first and get the work done, because we trust you, we believe in you, and we don't want a team member to have to decide that they can't do their job and they have to just stay at home. And that's a very practical thing that's happening right now that I know is on our hearts, and it's on my mind weekly, because those team members are very vital to what we're doing. And they're also awesome. We love them and we want them to stick around.
Our team hears this all the time, and I think it's perfect for this conversation. And as a business, what is your mission and vision? What is your culture? And one thing that I'll say often is, if you don't love what you do, then you need to go find something that you love. And so when we talk about culture and who we are, is we want to create an environment that people can thrive in and that they love, and that they don't hate coming to work, or they don't hate getting up and going to their computer to do their work. And that's a hard thing to set up and do. And in our early years, our culture wasn't the best, but I think I learned, and David, my business partner, learned kind of going through the fires of what was important to us. And I think that's valuable to any entrepreneur or business owner out there, any leader of a team, is who you are and where you're going and what's important. And that kind of leads into kind of the next conversation and topic about, who you are or your brand, and why is that important. And for us, we know our brand. And even when we started Ardent Creative, there really wasn't a business kind of in our niche at the time. And not a marketing agency or an ad agency, but not a freelancer, where you're kind of in between. And now you see these creative groups all over the country. And maybe there were a few back then, but it was really kind of a niche. And as we've grown, we've become more of that full service traditional agency. But we're always looking at how to set ourselves apart, or how is our brand different, significant. So Paul, in terms of branding or just the overall brand, why is it important to really dig into that message or that look?
I think you said it, in a nutshell. Knowing your brand guides you where you're going with everything else. Your brand isn't just a logo. It's not just a color or a font or a cool icon. It's your culture. It's who you are. It's what you believe in. If we go into the personal brand, then, your personal brand is basically, in a way, a synonym to what you believe in and what are your core values as a human, and how does that affect what you do. If you believe A but do B, then you don't really believe A, and you have to dig into that. And it's okay, you may believe in B, but you need to own that and know that, and that drives you moving forward. And watching everything that's been going on, and watching how our team has shifted, and how they've continued to stay creative, it's proven to me that Ardent finding their brand and knowing who they are as a team outside of what projects we're working on. One month we may be super into heavy web projects. One month we may be onboarding new digital marketing clients more than the web project. Like, things shift all the time, but our brand and our culture and our values are what's stable, and that drives us forward in making all of our decisions. It drives us forward in how our team communicates with each other, because they believe in those three, core values, and that drives them in what they're doing. It also holds us accountable to them. Mm-hmm. Like, when we go remote and everything's distant and we all feel like we're separated, as a leadership team, we know who we are, and therefore we can act on that, and we can realign to that and distinguish ourselves in the market. But not even just in the market, just in a personal conversation with a new client. Like, they can see it and they can feel it.
And we know who will work well with us.
Right.
Is that if we aren't aligned, we may not be a best fit to work with each other.
Right.
And I think that's important. Is a lot of times as business, we try to get every job or every lead or every sale we can, and don't go through the process of alignment and
Absolutely.
Making sure we can work together, because there's a lot of great agencies out there that do great work, and there's a lot of businesses out there that need good agencies, but I think alignment is important.
Absolutely. And because of the nature of how Ardent's set up, we can do a lot of different things, and a lot of our clients don't realize the breadth of everything that we can do for them. And I've had so many clients that we're doing, we do their branding and their marketing and their ad campaigns. And then when it comes to like a website project, they'll be like, "Oh, y'all do that?" Yeah. And so then we'll go through a whole bid process.
You do logos?
That. Yeah. Oh, I thought you just did websites. You do logos? Oh, you do ads. You do digital marketing too? Like, it's kind of funny, but a lot of times we'll have these conversations with these clients, and they'll put out an RFP on a new project. We'll submit to it. They'll end up going with another company. And we'll go through that whole process on that one little piece and continue to have that conversation with them. They'll go with another company for it, and then they'll end up coming back. And they may not come back on that particular project, but they'll come back on something else, because they valued that we knew who we are, we knew who they were, we knew how to have that conversation with them, and we'll even help them vet certain things. And we don't win everything, but
It's sad.
Yeah, it is sad. But then it's also really neat to have that conversation on the back end about what they do value about our team and what we can offer them, and how can we pivot certain things and continue to work with them.
Yeah. And so, obviously, brand and your messaging and who you are is important as an entity. So I think it'd be cool to highlight, one or two of these projects that we've done. And there's a couple that come to mind, but I'll let you. There's the Hope Farm, which is a new one that is a really good organization and taking care of young boys and trying to get them off the streets. And you got companies or organizations like Gladney, and the more nonprofit, or there's all types of companies out there doing some amazing things. So with what's going on now, is there one brand that you think would be great to highlight, that our team is really connected with the brand, but also taking it to another level?
I mean, I think you nailed it with your first one. Hope Farm was an amazing project to see go through. We worked with them on an annual fundraising campaign. We've done it for the past 3 years, maybe 4. And, it's done well. We've worked with them and, had success in it. It's been a complete collaboration between getting the messaging right to the imagery, getting, videos made to communicate, so that Hope Farm can get their message out and continue to help the community that they're in, because that's their whole point, is to change the community that they're in and to be a foundation in that community. Well, this year we're completely remote. We don't know how we're going to do all this. We don't have that comfortable route of doing everything. And this campaign I mean, it was a game changer. It was like we went from, you know, hey, we're knocking it out of the park and we're winning games, to we're winning games. We're also, you know, massive home runs, like, you know, breaking records kind of stuff in it. And, you know, the response to it was great. The feedback on it was great. And what made it great is we got down to what their brand was about. And we came down to one phrase. It wasn't the design, it being crazy. It wasn't overly, you know, catchy and like, look at us, we're trying to, you know, be all these things and market to you. We just realized that Hope Farm believes in the future of these kids in their community, and, you know, that future and those kids has a face, and they are the face of hope. And in this time right now that we're going through, with everyone feeling some level of despair and some level of depression, and, you know, everything's crazy, reminding their community that Hope Farm is there for these faces of hope, just hit home. And, you know, it sounds simple, but it delivered on the right time with the right message, and it was on brand with who they are. And that was all our team, like digging into who they are and owning that themselves, and taking that responsibility of, oh, I need to market these people and this is what they value in, so I'm going to buy into that and come up with the messaging and the imagery that's going to deliver that message.
No, I think that's great, because, you know, we've known and worked with them for years, and, you know, one of their main guys over there, we've worked with the client previously, and just the feedback has been amazing. And just seeing their faces, and then when you see a face next to a name or a face next to the campaign, it brings everything to light. And it's like, that's what we're doing, and that's what it's about. And, you know, that campaign really excites me, and just seeing, you know, not seeing anything and then seeing it go into being implemented was just, oh, this looks amazing. And I was blown away. And so I think the team did a great job. Now, I think lastly, one that just came to mind when you're talking about that is a local dentist. They're called Smile Fort Worth, and they signed, or I don't even know if they hadn't even signed when COVID hit and we were all shut down. And at the beginning in March, everything was shut down. Dentists weren't seeing patients, and they said, no, we'll scale back a little bit, but we still want to go with you, and we want you to do your campaign. And they gave us full creativity to kind of really differentiate themselves from other dentists. And there's a lot of companies that really niche into industries, and we've been very leery of niching down, because we work with a lot of different clients, and that gives us experience to see how other businesses react to certain things. And I think that's important for every client that we have, is that we can pull our experience from other areas into those situations. And with Smile Fort Worth going through this transition of what's going to happen, you know, we weren't sure how the campaign was going to work. And obviously the design team did a great job, but it was amazing to see that as things started to open up, and the things that the digital marketing was doing, as well as the web team and the design team, really separated Smile from a lot of other dentists. And it wasn't that cookie cutter, niche down, you know, standard dentistry campaign. It was really something unique. And I think the results showed, and that one was really pretty amazing to see in the midst of this amazing time where everything shut down in an industry that couldn't see people. Yeah. And how quick it came back, I think.
Yeah. I think even further on that, you know, when you are faced with hard times or a situation that you don't really know what's going to come out of it, the initial response is to kind of just hunker down, you know, be conservative with what's going on, and see if you can just ride through those waves. And what was really neat about that, and what was really revealing about that campaign and that client, was they were willing to hear our ideas. And even though we were remote and we had a million other things in the back of our head, like we had just gone remote, everything had just hit. We don't know how things are going to land. A lot of uncertainty. We were still willing to brainstorm, and we trusted each other to think outside the box and creatively approach their need. And so it shifted every month. It seemed to shift with that client, because as things locked down and then things started to open up and then open up some more and new protocols were being put in place, we always had to kind of shift how the messaging was working. But that initial push was a little risky, and it was exciting though to see the team buy into it and buy into what Smile Fort Worth, who they were and what they believed in and how they wanted to approach this and pitch it and deliver it and then create everything and also knock it out of the park.
I think one of the coolest things in that, which was only maybe a month or two ago, which would have been 1st of September, we did a video and photo shoot at their offices, and there's one sequence of where they get into their suits, and it looks like they're in a hazmat suit.
Yeah, almost
outside.
Like the scene of Back to the Future when he lands the DeLorean in the barn and comes out of it. Like they all just look ridiculous.
So take a look at this video, and you can see what it looked like, and it's full creativity from our team about, we can do this, working with them and getting them in their suits, and they were all for it.
Yeah.
And how that it looks crazy, but that's what their protocol is in COVID, and nobody's really showing that, and it separates them from a lot of other people that they're safe. They're a safe place to go in this crazy time.
Yeah.
And
what's funny about it, I thought we were overdoing the outfits and everything on purpose, and that is their standard protocol that they had put in place to take care of their clients, and they were going above and beyond, making sure everything was taken care of. So the campaign was a little tongue-in-cheek, making fun of it all, normalizing it to a certain degree, so that their clients saw these funny videos and saw who they were and what they were putting in place, but also getting to laugh at the situation a little bit and being able to take a little moment of brevity, and so and enjoy it and laugh at their team that takes care of their dental needs. And so when everything started opening back up, people felt more comfortable, were willing to start booking appointments quicker because they had already seen things that this is our team, this is what they're putting in place. I remember that video.
And so I think that's a good way to kind of end this video, is that things are crazy and things are difficult for a lot of people, and trying to find joy and doing things that are funny this time, not to negate the severity or the difficult times that people are going through, but the more we can come together, the more as a team we can do things that are joyful and fun, the better our jobs are going to be, the better our lives are going to be, and I think that can be contagious to everybody. And so I would say that's really how I want to close this video out, is know who you are and do your best to enjoy every day, even in the midst of chaos.
Yeah,
so,
sounds good.
Thank you for taking the time to watch our video, and we'll see you next week.